Hey guys, it's Tony Woodark. Today I want to talk to you about something super important, printing your photos. I'm going to give you some tips on what I do and just walk you through the process of how I go about printing photos for my clients. Let's get into it. If you guys don't already follow me on Instagram, check out the link below. My handle is @TonyWoodark. I would love for you guys to follow me. You can DM me anytime and ask me questions there. I asked you guys any questions you had about printing your photos in my album process, and I just wanted to answer those now. I get a lot of questions about printing photos and just who I use. I use WHCC. There's tons of good album companies out there. I see a lot of people recommend Red Tree, Kiss Albums, Miller's. Those are probably the most popular. And then I see quite a few people recommend WHCC. I've used them and I just love their work. I don't know if they still do it, but when you signed up, you could get 5 free prints when you signed up, and they would give you 5 free 8x10s. And so I printed a kind of a wide array of colors so that I could get a feel of how their colors matched my screen. And the colors were exact and they were beautiful and the quality is amazing. So I definitely recommend checking them out at least. I also do my albums through them and I connect my gallery to them as well. A lot of people ask about pricing. So my pricing is set up where the photography that I do, I'm making a profit off it, and that's enough for me to be stoked and run a successful business. So I'm not trying to make a ton of money off printing, but I would say I'm making enough money that if something goes wrong, I can fix that mistake. If nothing goes wrong, then I do make a little bit of money. So there's kind of two different camps. There's selling prints and they're selling your service. I sell my service. The other one, selling prints, is like IPS, in-person sales, where you sit the couple down and you show them a bunch of products and you're selling canvases and different prints and that kind of stuff for thousands of dollars. So that's not my business model. My business model is providing clients all of their high-res digital photos, but I also want to offer them the service of printing their photos for them. So I connect my Pixie gallery to WHCC. So when the client sees their photos, any photo they want, they can print at any size and it sends directly to WHCC. WHCC handles the order and they send it to the client. So I'm kind of completely out of the mix. I just get a cut of that. I also have to pay sales tax on that. So that's something that you need to keep in mind in terms of your charging. It's really easy in the back end to set that up, your account with WHCC. You just have to choose how much of a markup you want to do on each of the photos. I don't remember the percentage for mine, but it's not a ton. But if someone made a mistake on their order, I would be able to cover that cost. So people ask, like, where do you start with albums? I'm gonna walk you through the entire process of how I look at an album from start to finish. But I would say downloading smart albums and watching the rest of this video, it'll definitely help you at least get the mindset in place. Smart albums is really easy. They give you amazing templates. You can send it to the client and they can proof it and make any comments. I think that's the most intimidating process, is just figuring out how you're gonna get feedback. And then once they approve the album, you just send it straight to WHCC, they print it and ship it to you. And I usually ship it to myself first, and so I can look through it and make sure the quality is amazing, and then I send it to the client with a thank you card or whatever. So I would definitely consider that process. Another thing, people try to let the client kind of pick the photos and do all that. I do that as well. I say you can create a favorite list in your Pixie gallery and I'll use those photos. But I also say, hey, if you want me to take a first stab at just designing the whole thing, let me know. And almost all my clients trust me and know that I kind of know the photos better and the story better than they even do. And they just put their entire trust into me. And so I usually make the first round completely on my own. I just ask for help around maybe family photos, which groupings they want of that. But that's pretty much it. And then if they have 1 or 2 favorite couples photos or whatever, to let me know. But usually I just design the entire thing from start to finish, and then I make notes from there. And I usually only go through 1 or maybe 2 at most revision process. So it's really easy. It only takes a little bit of time on my end, and the clients love it because they can kind of look through it, approve it, and it's really easy. I think people try to put too many steps in there. In terms of the clients choosing the photos and the order and that kind of stuff. I would recommend taking that pressure out of the client's hands, doing it yourself, and giving them suggestions. I tell the clients what my favorite album cover leather is. I tell them my favorite size, the right amount of spreads, and I make suggestions for them. And 95% of my clients go, yep, we trust you, do it. And so I would say, figure out what you like best and what you think works, and make that suggestion to your clients, and they'll trust you. Another question I got was, how do you import the templates into Lightroom, or how do I do that kind of template process with WHCC? Like I mentioned, download Smart Albums. I believe they have a free trial. It's not that big of a cost. Your first album is gonna kind of cover your costs as long as you charge appropriately. Smart Albums, you choose what template. Okay, I'm gonna make a 10 by 10 album, and you can just start creating spreads, and then it will export, and it'll be the right dimensions for WHCC. So it's really easy. Someone asked for how to plan a shot list for an album. I don't really ever think about the album until I'm actually creating it. I think I just naturally go about the day in terms of storytelling, making sure that I'm capturing the details and capturing every part of the day. And I would say most photographers are doing the same. So it's not necessarily thinking about the album, it's using the album to tell the story how you normally would. And you'll see that a little bit later when I go through the album. You'll see how I kind of tell that story from start to finish. And if you're missing pieces in there, then maybe when you're going to shoot your next wedding, think about that and plan for it ahead of time. What's my process for choosing photos? Someone asked that. So I would say my process for choosing photos is, in my whole culling process, before I send the final gallery to the couple, I go through one last time to check over all the photos, and I highlight my favorite photos that I think kind of summarize the entire day. So if I'm delivering 600 or 700 photos, I try to get about 100, 200 max photos that are just my favorite of the entire gallery. And I create that as a separate folder that I call the highlights. And so that's the first page on their gallery. So when they open their gallery for the first time, they're just seeing the highlights, and they get that essence of the day in 100 or 200 photos. And so it's a lot easier to consume, and then they can dig into each part of their day. That highlights also helps me narrow down the process for when I'm creating a blog on my website. And then that highlights is also my starting folder for creating an album. So I'm using my best photos that I took that tell the story of the day in the most perfect way. And that's my starting point. And then I'm going to the rest of the gallery and grabbing pieces where I need to kind of add stuff in. But having that base of highlights is a really easy way to start. Okay, that's it. That was all your questions from Instagram. Make sure to follow me at Tony Woodark, and I will try to answer any other questions that you guys have, or you can leave those in the comments below. Please like this video. It helps me get more views and helps me beat those algorithms. And go ahead and leave any comments below. I'll try to answer those questions for you. And yeah, subscribe if you don't already. Let's jump into the rest of the process. Thanks. Hey guys, one thing I forgot to mention was WHCC lets you do sample albums where you print the word sample inside your album, and it takes 25% off the cost. Sometimes they do sales. I've seen it up to like 40% off. So take advantage of that. You need to have your album in hand to sell albums. So when I go to a client consultation, I bring a sample album and I show them so that they understand the quality and what they're getting. It helps show my work, which is awesome. And it just, everyone who's touched that album goes, oh yeah, I need one of these. So that's just a little tip for you guys. Make sure that you are showing clients the quality and the products that you want to sell without them ever touching it, and you just selling an idea. It's pretty hard. So make sure you're letting clients touch the products you want to sell. getting into the albums, this is Smart Albums that I'm using and showing you, and just wanted to show you how I go about the storytelling of an album. So this is Smart Albums. So this is the first spread of the album when I open it up. I usually like to start with details, whether that be rings or invites, those kind of things that kind of just set the tone of like, the invite has the date on it, it has their names, their rings, and so it just kind of sets the tone to start the story off. And then I usually go into some more details or portraits. So these are kind of like the getting ready, doing the cufflinks, putting on the earrings. These are two of my favorite shots I've ever taken of getting ready, and I love them in black and white. So to see them next to each other in a big album, this is one of my favorite spreads ever. Then I go into just kind of the getting ready. This is Abe, he's getting ready with his daughters, and they're giving him a present that Rachel, his wife, or soon-to-be wife, gave him. And so just really fun to be able to show that. And then I go over to the girls and it's them getting ready. So this is kind of just chronological from details to them getting ready. And then we go into portraits. And so I just love these portraits. These are shot with a Canon 85 1.4L lens, and they're my favorite portraits I've ever taken. Just that buttery bokeh in the background. She's super sharp and looks beautiful. Just love her hair and the details of florals in her hair. Then we go to first look, and I try to add more photos here because I really want to show the story and kind of sequence of the first look and all the emotion that was involved. Then we go into kind of portraits, more portraits, and kind of a little bit more a little bit more candids and just kind of storytelling. And then I go into a full spread of all the details. They put so much work into choosing all these floral arrangements and the guest board and the cake and everything, the tablescapes, and so definitely want to showcase that in the album. Then we go into the ceremony, and I treat that again as a chronological storytelling. So the flower girls come down the aisle, his reaction, her walking down the aisle, the officiant's reaction, just really a lot of emotion, which I love. This is an awesome shot that my second shooter got up from the balcony and really sets the scene. So adding in those wide landscapes really makes you feel like you're there. And then we get back into the ceremony, a lot of emotion. This is just such a beautiful ceremony. And then we've got the first kiss, and then I love this recessional shot of them walking back down the aisle. They're just so happy, and you can just like feel that emotion. And I love it in black and white because it just makes you focus on them. Then we get into the bridal party portraits. They just had beautiful light as the sun was setting over the mountains in Palm Springs. Family portraits. First dance, again, I love this wide shot my second shooter got. He was up on the balcony. It took a little bit of editing work because the lighting and the flash and all of that was just, it was a little tough, but I really love how it turned out. And then the speeches. They had lion dancers, which is like a traditional Chinese thing to have at a ceremony, which is rad. And then them coming to cut the cake. I just love these, like they're so regal looking. He changed his coat, so I love this, like I love the details in that. And then the dancing photos, and that's it. And so I just stay chronological, make sure to add in a bunch of wide shots to tell the story, some candids and emotion to make you feel like you're there, close-up details. And I think that flow of all those variations is great. And I would say 9 out of 10 of the couples that have me make albums, they go, I trust you, pick out the photos. I send them this on Smart Albums, and they're able to see a proof, and they're able to go through spread by spread on their computer, make any notes they want. And then I see all the notes on here. I can click on it. It takes me to the page that they have notes on. I can make those edits, and then I send them back another proof, and then they approve it. And so I have formal approval of them in case something was wrong after they got it printed. And I also just am able to make those revisions really quickly. I would say it takes me about 30 minutes to an hour to design this album through Smart Albums and send it off, and then maybe another 15 minutes in revisions. And then I send it off to print. I use WHCC, and The process is so easy. So yeah, it doesn't take me much time. The turnout is beautiful. It's my best work. The clients love it. And so I think everyone's really happy. So yeah, just wanted to kind of share how I go about that and my thought process, and hopefully that helps you. If you have questions on why I do this or how I do certain things, please ask those in the comments below. And yeah, look forward to speaking with you. Thanks.